There have been several serial killers throughout history, but only a select few have left any sort of lasting legacy. Some have become notorious for their high body counts, others for their bizarre perversions, and yet others for possessing that indefinable characteristic that makes a serial killer notorious. 5 of the most infamous murderers in history are profiled in this video. 5. Karl Panzram. Karl Panzram may not be the first name that comes to mind when considering the most notorious serial killers in history, but he certainly deserves to be there. Each serial killer profiled here, you see, favored a certain type of victim. Bundy preferred to prey on young women, Gacy on teenage guys, and Guine on cadaverous females. However, Panzram was an entirely different animal. He didn't care who you were. Panzram would kill you nonetheless. Hatred filled him up to the point that he felt nothing else, as he put it. He would entice American soldiers to leave the safety of the bars, where he would then shoot them dead. At the age of 11, he began to prey on young boys, whom he would sodomize and then strangle. Even though he admitted to killing nearly 20 people, he was only convicted of 3 murders. Panzram hated people and enjoyed fantasizing about committing mass murder. His supposed prison cell confession: "I wish the whole globe had one neck and I had my hands around it." 4. John Wayne Gacy. John Wayne Gacy, known as the Killer Clown of Chicago, exemplified the archetypal sociopath. He was an accomplished businessman, volunteer, and children's performer by day. Nonetheless, when night fell, he transformed into a murderous rapist who operated a secret graveyard beneath his home. He would drive around Chicago at night and pick up lads off the streets, or he would employ them to work for his construction company and bring them back later. Once inside his house, Gacy would launch a surprise attack and kill his victims by strangling them with his bare hands or using his rope trick as a makeshift tourniquet. 3. Ed Gein. The grave robber whose macabre deeds inspired one of the most iconic horror icons of all time, Leatherface from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, must be included on any comprehensive list of serial killers. After his mother passed away, Gein began frequenting local cemeteries, where he would rob graves of recently deceased women, dismember them, and use their bodies to make furniture and other objects for his home. But ultimately, Ed decided that stealing from graves wasn't satisfying enough, and he began killing as well. He fatally shot 2 women in the area, then drove their bodies to his rotting home in the back of his truck. The disappearance of local shop owner Bernice Worden quickly made Gein a prime suspect, and when authorities searched his home, they discovered some of the most gruesome objects ever made. Bone bowls, skull vases, a lampshade covered in human skin, a garment woven from skin scraps, and more. The human body was used for all sorts of things. Gein later admitted that he wanted to build a woman suit so that he could become his mother. Since Ed Gein enjoyed crafting with human skin, the film's Buffalo Bill character was inspired on the real-life craftsman. 2. Jack the Ripper. Even 130 years after his alleged crimes, the mythology of Jack the Ripper, England's most notorious serial killer, continues to captivate audiences with its alluring account of life on the run in Victorian London. Since the Ripper was never apprehended, little is known with certainty about the murders. What is known is that in 1888 he murdered at least 5 women in the dark alleys of London, England, and left them for dead. Mary Jane Kelly, Jack's 5th and final victim, was not like his previous victims, who he stabbed and dismembered in a couple of minutes, to the point that she was unrecognizable. Jack demolished her, and the crime scene images of the aftermath are still unsettling to this day. 1. Ted Bundy. Theodore Ted Bundy, better known by his nickname, the Lady Killer, must be included on any list of serial killers. Charming and gorgeous as he was, this young criminal had a taste for killing women. Books, movies, TV series, podcasts, and even Ted Bundy t-shirts have all chronicled his story, proving that he has become the gold standard of evil around the world. At least 30 individuals were killed by Ted Bundy, who operated in states including Ohio, Colorado, Idaho, Washington, Utah, Oregon, Florida, and maybe even California. Ted had a weakness for young brunette college students, and he would often pretend to be hurt in order to get them into his now famous Volkswagen Beetle. Inside, Bundy would use a crowbar to strike his victims before raping and strangling them to death in the woods. Bundy grew increasingly brazen over time, eventually breaking into a sorority home and attacking 4 women in less than 15 minutes. In 1975, police located Bundy, and he was ultimately sentenced to death by electrocution. Even though he was put to death in 1989, he is still widely regarded as the most infamous serial killer in history. If you liked today's video, then feel free to smash the like button.